Well, as you can see, we've got lots of friends helping me out here today. Even have a woodpecker up here getting some suet. We've got some snow, not a lot. Oh, there's maybe only about 4 inches on the ground here, so I'm going to do some videos of this machine as time goes on. But right now, I really don't have the snow to show off the real capabilities of it. So hopefully in the next few weeks we'll get some more snow. All right, this is a review of the Ariens Pro 28 Hydro RapidTrak. This is the 2018 version, and let's get through every little detail we possibly can with this walk around. First off, I want to say that I didn't buy this machine. Every year for the last 5 years, Ariens has been letting me borrow 1 or 2 machines so I can go through and show you how they work, all the details of them, and so on. This year they're letting me use this 28 RapidTrak, and I also have a 30 Deluxe EFI version. And Ariens is not the only one that lets me use machines. Troy-Bilt, Toro, Yardmax, Snowgo, all those, quite a few others have let me use machines over the years. They don't pay me to do the reviews. I want to make that very clear. These reviews are mine, and I get no compensation whatsoever from doing them. And with that said, let's take a look at the machine. I'm going to start out. This is their new RapidTrak design. You can put this track in 3 different positions, which I'll go over in a little bit, so that it's highly maneuverable, just like a wheeled version. Gives you the same traction as a regular track drive, and then you can also lock the front end down if you want to have some real heavy crusty snow that you want to go through. So initial, I get driven it a little bit. I drove a little bit last September on dry pavement. It works really well. I moved it out here, played with it just a little bit before I put it in the shed. And I'll tell you what, this is quite the track system. So, and I'll talk about the details here in a little bit later on. So I'm going to start out with the engine. The engine is on this machine is a Briggs & Stratton Polar Force Pro. It's 420 cc's. It has a fuel shutoff valve, nice pull starter, ignition key, throttle, choke, and primer bulb. It's very easy to start. All you have to do is turn your fuel on, of course, set your throttle for half, turn the key on, turn the choke to full, press the primer bulb twice, and pull it, and she'll start. This engine, one of the features of the Pro model is this has a huge gas tank on it. It's got a 1.5 gallon fuel tank, so you'll be able to go out and run hours with this machine instead of less than that with the other machines with the smaller tanks. Yes, it does have a 110 volt electric start, so if you have a hard time pulling it, you can always use the electric start to give it a start. Just running it, the engine is nice and quiet. These new snowblower engines are not near as loud as the old one that you've got right now. So yeah, you probably still should wear earplugs or at least earmuffs since it's going to be cold outside. All right, moving on to the machine itself. First thing you notice about the Ariens Pro is they have a big square tube handle on them. And I'm going to apologize. I'm using my phone to do this video on today, and it's not very wide angle, so we're going to get a lot of close-up shots. So, and it's all welded and bolted so that everything is nice and tight. There's not going to be any rattly things. Stuff's not going to fall off of it over the years. It's built with the contractor in mind. This one is designed to run all day long, every day, and not give you any problems. It has the normal controls. Your auger over here on the right hand side. It has another lever down here for the lift that we use for, and it's called a lift, but what it does is it locks the releases or locks the tracks. Hydrostatic drive. And the hydrostatic drive is very easy. It's not stiff and hard to push when it's cold like some of the other models, some of the other brands. The deflector, it's notched so it stays in place for you, and it's very easy. It's spring loaded, of course, so it pops up normally. What else do I have here? Hand warmers, of course. The chute control on it is their deluxe chute control. It's very easy to use. It's not a pistol grip. Get away from thinking that all these levers are pistol grips. They're not. You hold them like you do the end of a baseball bat. So on this one, you just pull back and rotate it back and forth. Very easy to move. It's a good solid system. Took me a while to get used to it. I always wanted to wrench on it too hard. Come to find out, it's very easy to use, and whenever you use it, don't forget, just pull it, move it real easy. And of course the drive control over here on the left hand handle. All their cables are strong. All their cables are adjustable. So if the machine's not going forward, first thing you do is check your cable adjustment. Make sure that's nice and tight when you pull the handle down. Same way for your engagement over here. Make sure that's nice and tight if the thing doesn't seem to be blowing right. Other features. Good heavy duty sealed ball bearings. Good heavy duty thick metal for the transmission case. One of the nice features about the Pro models is there's extra gusseting welded in, so you won't be able to warp the auger housing very easily. Everything is all metal up, down through here, so you get good wear on the machine. The chute is a hanging chute, so all the support is up here on the top. It's a gear drive. If you ever have any problems with it, just one screw and you can inspect it and clean it, whatever you need to do. Like I said, nice solid spring system on the chute control. Ariens does things a little bit differently than others. For example, instead of aluminum pop rivets here to hold the rubber flap in, that's a steel shoulder rivet, so it's going to last. Lock bolts so they don't vibrate loose. If you've ever had a machine without that little rubber flap in it, you know that's a big feature. Keeps the snow, when you have your deflector all the way down, it keeps the snow from blowing back out the top. Also down here on the bottom, there's a heavy poly bracket in here, but that bracket is just to align the chute up. There's no weight or support on that at all. Typical plastic cover. The Ariens Pros come with drift cutters. The They're interchangeable from side to side. They're also fairly easy to flip up. These nuts are captive nuts, so they don't vibrate loose. So you won't lose them like the ones you do on your Husqvarna. Also, standard on the Pro is a heavy duty cast, or it's not cast, it's a heavy duty steel skid shoe. It's about 3 times thicker than their normal shoe. You can also replace that with poly shoes if you have patios and stuff like that you want to clean and not leave brown rust marks. I expect these shoes to last a long time. Okay, I propped the housing up just a little bit here so it's a little bit easier to see into. And let's see if I can get my little bracket to work for my phone. All right, so this is a pretty unique system. The front auger is 16 inches in diameter. The back is 14 inches. That has the good cupped, this has the good cupped paddles on it, so it really grabs the snow well and throws the snow out of the machine quickly. It's pretty good speed, so this particular model will throw snow up to 60 feet. Also, it has nice heavy duty bearing supports on both sides of it. The legendary cast iron Ariens gearbox. Nice easy plug so you can check the fluid level in it. One thing nice about the housing is it's got a rolled edge here, so it gives you a rolled edge up on the top, so it gives you lots of support. Plus it's really easy to pick up. You don't cut your hands when you're trying to pick it up to work on it. Standard good scraper bar. It's not reversible, but it does have 7 bolts holding it in there, so it's not going to bend on you. It's going to last a long time. It has it's a nice thick metal, and it does have indents on the side, so it gives it even a stronger profile. It's got good weld joints in it. Welds are longer than what you normally see in most machines, so it's not going to rattle apart on you. I do want to compare the front a little bit to the 28-inch Honda track drive. So like I said, this is a 16-inch auger, 14-inch impeller. The impeller blades are cupped to get the snow out really well. I have a picture up here on the wall that I took of the Honda 28, and see if I can get the windows out of that. No, won't be able to. So the Honda 28 also has a gearbox in it. It's made out of cast aluminum. Let me walk a different direction here. Maybe that's a little bit better. A little bit better. That's about a 12-inch auger and a 12-inch impeller in the back. And as you can see, the blades on the impeller are quite a bit smaller. They don't have they're not near as long. They don't have the cup capacity that Ariens does. Okay, if you look at the Honda uses stub shafts coming out of the gearbox, and then it uses a bracket to hold the gearbox in place. And then, so when you break a shear pin, there's not a shaft that runs all the way through the inside of that. It just spins free on the end of that output shaft. On the Ariens Pro models, they have a solid shaft that runs all the way through from the gearbox all the way out to the outside. They have a shear pin out here in the middle, and then they have 2 grease zerks on each side. About once a year you should put a couple shots of grease in them, and what happens is if you do break a shear pin, that inner shaft will, the auger will spin free from that inner shaft. So that's a good solid design that way. You get good support from the auger for the auger itself, and you don't get any wobble up and down or flop because that's a big shaft in there. One more time, here's a picture of the impeller on the Honda. Let's go back and take a look at the impeller on the Ariens. And as you can see, the Ariens, the cups are longer, so it does throw better. Capacity wise, the machines are basically the same price. The capacity of the Honda is about 57 tons per hour. The capacity on this Ariens is 79 tons per hour. So considerably more snow through. If you live in an area that has a lot of snow, or if you like to walk really fast, this Ariens will keep up with you. All right, the last thing that I want to talk about, hopefully I've covered most everything that that you're interested in on this machine. If I missed anything, just leave a comment down in the comments, and I'll come back and be glad to answer any questions you have about it. The last thing I want to talk about is the RapidTrak. This RapidTrak system is a new concept. It's much different than the track drives that you've seen over the years. The original track drives like the Craftsman and the older Honda snow throwers, those used a solid axle and then a 2-point drive system on a rubber tire. They worked really good pushing forward. Turning them, it took 2 men and a boy to get them to turn because there was no way to release the axle. You had to scrape the treads on the ground. Later on, companies like MTD used a power steering system, like what they still use on their wheeled machines, where you pull a trigger and that releases a clutch mechanism on the left, on one side or the other, which makes them turn a little bit easier. On the 2-point systems, that works pretty well. On the 3-point tracks, though, like the Husqvarna, it's still really hard to turn. I've got an ST330T here, and it takes a good sized person to be able to turn the thing. It's not as smooth and easy as as I would want it to be. So the other thing that most of the older track drive systems did is they had a lever, or on today's machine, or on today's Honda, they have a little electric assist that raised the front of the auger housing up off the ground for transport. And you could also kind of use that to regulate the height of the housing if you wanted to go out and clean some areas that, or turf or something like that. The only problem is with that system is that you didn't float the housing during normal operation, or it was an extra step that you had to do to get it to float. That causes your snowblower to lose traction, or you don't get everything as clean as you want. This is a commercial model, so this is a pro model. So one of the basic beliefs I have with this system is that you always want pressure on your front housing. You always want it to be cleaning as well as possible. With this type of machine, most of the time you're going to have it in areas like driveways, gravel driveways, sidewalks, blacktop, stuff like that. So you don't want to waste your time with having the front end off the ground. Ariens has, that's the idea that I see Ariens using with this one is during normal operation, the track, and let's go over here. During normal operation, it has, the track is all the way on the ground. So that gives you a good straight line push. And it works like a, normal track drive. One of the big advantages with this particular track drive is the drive wheel is a lot larger. So even if you're using the same transmission as you would in a wheeled unit, your speed is still going to be the same as a wheeled unit. It's not going to be half the speed like it is with the current, all the other current track drives that have the smaller top drive wheel. Second, so when you put that down, right now it's set so that the rear end is raised up. So with that down, you have regular traction. When you put the back end up, and it's just simply moving that lever over there, when you put the back end up, now it's just as maneuverable as a wheeled unit. And it has at least as much traction as a wheeled unit. The auto turn works really, really well this way. If you're in tight locations or if you're doing a lot of turning around, this feature is probably one of the best applications that I've seen in a long time. The machine also, when the wheels are, when the back end of the track is up like this, it's real easy to move it. In other words, anyone can grab a hold of it, and when I say anyone, I mean anyone can grab it and push down on the handles and turn it. It turns that easy. There's also another mode for the tracks that lock the front axle, the front housing down. And in lock mode, you get maximum traction, get maximum force on the front end. So that's going to be really good if you got areas that typically get driven over before you get a chance to clean them, because you've got all the traction of a big track drive, plus you have all that down pressure in the front, so you can just scrape that stuff right off the pavement. Mechanically, the track drive is solid. Everything is good, solid steel. The cables are all sheathed, waterproof cables. I don't see anything that's going to give you any problems at all with it. So that's really about all I have with this machine. There are a few areas I didn't cover, like the spot to keep extra shear pins in, and the 1-inch metal support for the chute. But other than that, I think we've covered it pretty well. If there's other areas or you have other questions, be sure to ask them, and I'll be glad to go over them there. Also, be sure to check out movingsnow.com. I'll probably put some pictures and some more write-ups about this machine over there. And yes, there will be videos of it blowing snow. Thank you.